welcome everybody to the Purple Quarter podcast series 2. And we are extremely excited to have Suvesh Malhotra in the house on a lovely Saturday, September morning. Thank you, Suvesh, for doing this so early in the morning on a Saturday.
Thanks, Roopa. Mornings are always good time. Traditionally, I've not been an early riser, but uh, this is an exception. No, just joking. I think it's a lovely time and great to be here. Great to be chatting with you.
Excellent. So, for all those people who don't know about Suvesh Malhotra, I'd just like to give a little bit of introduction. Suvesh is a BTech CS from IIT Guwahati and has worked with multiple firms. I'd like to pick his brains on the last three. So, Suvesh, taking a few from there, let me talk to you about the last three stints that you've had. You were with a very large firm, a $1 trillion company like Amazon, then moved on to Oyo, took a stint, good leap of faith, if I can put it that way, into Oyo. And from Oyo now into Hike to one large company, MNC, and then two startups. Can you tell us how your journey has been in these three companies?
Yeah. You know, there's a phrase that I've used often. I'll not go into detail, but I'll definitely start with that.
Sure.
My journey generally is a sum of questionable decisions.
Mhm.
There's some questionable decisions here, but it has been an amazing journey. Prior to Amazon, I was in a bunch of startups for a long time,
Right.
and getting into Amazon was pretty interesting, pretty exciting, and as well as very challenging because, as you mentioned, Amazon's a $1 trillion company. They operate at a humongous scale.
Mm.
So that was my first big experience operating at large scale. Things get pretty interesting, exciting. I got a lot of learning over there as well. For example, Amazon has some of the most fantastic tooling, build tools, deployment tools, etc., that enables you to operate at scale. For example, Amazon has great mechanisms like the six pages, the six-pager documents they write,
Right.
which makes it possible to think at that scale, structured in a structured fashion as well. So I learned a lot of tools of trade over there, and was able to deploy some of them at Amazon to build and scale up the team. So it was a very interesting journey for me.
Sure.
Then I was at um, Oyo, and I joined Oyo when it was moving into its hypergrowth scale
Phase.
mode,
Right.
and it grew fantastically well while I was there. And hypergrowth scale comes with its own set of challenges. For example, Amazon was, have to operate at large scale. How can you continue to do well at large scale?
Mm.
Hypergrowth scale comes with its different challenges. For example, my team grew from 25 members to 270 members.
Wow.
So, how do you even build a great team at scale, at pace, without losing the fundamental attributes of a great team, such as quality of engineers, the culture fitment of the whole organization. Um, Hypergrowth also implied that we had to make a lot of fundamental tech innovations. For example, we went from a monolith architecture to a microservice architecture. It is challenging,
Right.
extremely challenging. Comes with its own sort of nuances. Building a microservice architecture, um, and scaling does not happen in isolation. If you are not innovating, you are going to die. And OE was a great place where anybody who uh, could innovate, wanted to innovate, um, was not being limited by the functional setup. So, for example, we did a lot of tech-driven innovations. We built a fantastic search system that enabled our customers to find the right hotels for them in very quick time, which improved the conversion. So, a tech-driven innovation which happened, just because OYO culturally was set up in that fashion. Got a lot of opportunity to innovate at scale as well. So that was fantastic. And of course, at Hike now, again, a very different stage. I joined Hike when Hike was planning to pivot from its messenger-based uh, organization to a social plus gaming organization. And it's challenging. Pivots are not easy. It requires a fundamentally different way of thinking. For example, can you operate at pace uh, for your GTM?
Mm.
And we did that. We launched our new products in a couple of months, which was fantastic because the sooner you can get out to your customers, the sooner you can learn from your customers and innovate. This The landscape is also very, very different. Gaming comes with its own set of challenges. For example, if you're building a real-time multiplayer game, then latency of that gameplay matters a lot.
Yeah.
And we have done a lot of innovation over there in building out a real-time uh, communication platform for that. So a lot of, again, a very different domain, very different setup in terms of the scale and stage of the organization. And each stage, I've been fortunate to have been challenged, and that has improved me as an engineer, as a thinker, as a leader. So I'm fortunate to have had this journey.
Excellent. So let me actually ask you a little more about gaming. You mentioned about how you pivoted into gaming, and I'm presuming this is social gaming that you're talking about, which is even tougher, right? At the end of the day, to
Yes.
keep people always coming back to your platform. And of course, I also get to read that you guys are also getting into social gaming and crypto. Three different ways of looking at the whole piece. So, how is it from a tech perspective? How is it that you're trying to get users onto your platform for three different pieces that you have that you're solving for?
Yeah. So, um, fundamentally, we are, product that exists today in the market is a RMG real money gaming product,
Correct.
and we have built a set of casual games and wrapped up this business model on top of it, and we are doing some more innovations that I'll probably speak about. And if you think about it, it's has a lot of unique challenges. Um, I mentioned briefly about gaming. If your latency is high, uh, users would have issues. They will churn out. In fact, at High, we have built a pretty very interesting game called Bumper Battle, which is, as far as I know, first of its own kind in an RMG product. And Bumper Battle is really fickle if your latencies are not predictable because you're bumping into each other. Players are bumping into each other. And so we had a huge focus. Can we get the latencies down to the minimal so that the experience is truly real time?
Mm.
And the outcome is a very fun game, a very interesting game. A game that I play myself a lot as well. Uh,
Okay.
I might lose money because I'm not good at it, but I love to play that game a lot. So the focus has been: can we build high quality games?
Right.
That's one biggest way that we're trying to differentiate ourselves. And high quality game, of course, is a combination of high quality design, high quality art, high quality technology backing it in terms of latency optimization, a real time communication mechanism on top of it, optimizing the animations as well. So that's why we don't build, we are using Unity for as an example. We are not using HTML or some other rendering technology. We use Unity so that we can get high quality animations for customers. We started with some standard gaming engines at the back end because GTM is important, as I mentioned earlier. But now, as we're thinking of scaling, we are moving from um, a standard gaming engine to our own gaming engine because that will give us more control and we can tune out the experience to a much better sense. So that's how we think of technology. Can we build the best experience end to end, from the front end to back end, the holistic customer experience, so that customers love to use a product. But of course, it goes beyond that as well.
Mm.
If you think about RMG as a space, people are wagering money, um, and it's very important, therefore, to be predictable. Uh,
RMG is real money gaming, right?
Real
That's
money gaming, yes,
okay.
yes, yes, yes. So it's very important to be predictable. And network jitters, for example,
Mm.
are still commonplace. If people are playing 4G networks, Wi-Fi networks, still jitters do happen, and that implies the packets can drop, and customers can sometimes go out of context of the game, and then they'll lose money. So we are actually building intelligence to solve that problem. So, for example, can we detect if there was jitter and
Okay.
auto refund in those cases?
Right.
So we are, again, technology is not just to build high quality games, but to build a high quality experience. In this case, building high quality trust. So if we
Right.
can solve, detect, and automatically take action, it builds, trust. I remember this thing. Amazon was very famous for this. If they had a price drop, they will automatically refund uh, to customers, and that built a lot of trust. That and we have the same philosophy that let's put customer at the center and build technology to solve all the problems. So that's the problem of trust. And then there are of course other factors as well. For example, uh, you know uh, there are thousands, millions of customers on the platform, so who gets to play with each other? So try to match same skill players with each other so that they have a great experience.
Mm.
So just to cut short, the way we think about technology is end to end. Build a great experience in terms of end to end, build great trust through technology, and build a fun experience, build a fun environment as well. We have something called Hikemoji,
Hmm.
which is
Correct.
basically a 2D representation, a fun and expressive 2D representation of yourself.
Mm.
And it requires a lot of advanced computer vision technology. Not many in the world have been able to do it, and we continue to innovate on top of it. And that gives a very, you know, uh, creates the ecosystem, creates a product which is much more fun.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and you know, just to add on to the trust factor even more, we have no bots on our platform, and because bots are not a great experience for sure. And if
Right.
you have no bots, then we should have great matching algorithms so that we can connect users fast so that they can play. So again, technology solves that problem. So yeah, that's our perspective, and of course, we work on the edges as well of the whole experience.
So let me understand this. When Hike was what it was earlier, the customer base that it was, looking at was slightly different. Yeah. And when you guys pivoted, of course, you pivoted into multiple, different features, which I just spoke about, and you spoke about real money gaming. How has that been? The customers have the same customers come back. If you looked at customer acquisition from outside, so how did that get solved, Suresh?
Yeah. So that customer base was very different, which was in Messenger, right? I mean, obviously we let our users know, let our customers know that we're launching this new product, and come and you know uh, you know sh- have have a first look at this product. And
Mhm.
some of them did come, but it's not necessarily that all of them came, because some of them were not interested in a real money gaming product. So we have been going around customer acquisition in the way a lot of other organizations would do as well. We obviously do advertisements across multiple channels. We also have our own free app, by the way, as well.
Mhm.
We have a free app as well as a cash app. So free app is in Play Store, cash app is not on Play Store. And there are a lot of customers who discover us organically
Right.
as well. And the great thing now is that because we have built high quality experience, we have a lot of word of mouth. We do UXR, user research, with our customers and ask them, how did you come to know about us? And a lot of them tell us that their friends told them about Rush, which is a real money gaming product.
Right.
So there's a lot of strong word of mouth as well.
Mm.
And honestly, to scale a consumer product of any category, you need a strong word of mouth. And of course, strong word of mouth comes out of a great experience, right? So again, focusing on fundamentals has allowed us to scale up our acquisition as well. Having said that, of course, we do spend money on multiple channels to acquire customers. Uh, yeah, and then there, again, build tech uh, to drive some virality. For example, referrals is a great way to enable the word of mouth to flow much more easily,
Sure.
rather than people telling, uh, during the group conversations, they can just refer through the app,
Mhm.
something which makes it easy. So some of those techniques that we've been working on acquiring customers.
Right. So let's talk about Rush a little. I hear you always say, we've built a high quality gaming platform. So how do you actually define from a tech perspective? How do you define that, hey, this is high quality? This is what the customers will like. You did say that, you go and ask for their experience, but how, where, quality can be defined by different people in a very different manner, right? How does the buck stop, where you say, hey, this is high quality and we should release this product outside? How do you think of it from a tech perspective?
Sure. So it's there are different dimensions of high quality.
Mm.
Um, let me just talk about some of the attributes of high quality.
Right,
A high quality game experience would be something briefly I mentioned earlier would be high quality animation.
right.
Is the animation smooth or not on the front end? It is very frustrating if you are pressing a button on the app
Mm.
or in the game, in the context of the game, and it doesn't react automatically.
Right.
Because in today's world, people expect things to happen immediately, right? It's not early 2000. Other aspect of quality is that if I took a certain action, that action does happen. So that is the stability of it.
Mm.
So first one was should happen immediately. Second is actually should happen.
Right.
Um, Third is that let's say if I had a gameplay and I won, did money get credited to my account or not? Right.
Sure.
If I tried entering the game, was I able to enter the game or not? Did money get deducted and did I lose money because there was some network fluctuation, for example? Um, and all of this packaged in a high quality art, high quality design that sort of improves the experience of playing game. So those are the several aspects of quality, and other variables that makes or breaks is, for example, can your system manage scale? If we had a 10x increase in our concurrent users, which does happen, there are times that we suddenly see 10x spikes. Can a system handle it gracefully, automatically scale,
Mm.
for example, to handle those concurrent users? So those are the other variables. And the whole point is that if you have to solve it, you have to solve it as in an as automated fashion as we can. So if you're still relying on manual scaling up, it's not going to work. So
Right.
we have obviously scaling mechanisms. We are hosted on Google Cloud, and we have scaling mechanisms that automatically kicks in
Mm.
to scale up. We are also working on predictive scaling so that we can even start scaling up before the scale in traffic actually happens.
Sure.
Um, the gameplay quality. Obviously we do a lot of testing on every game to ensure it's high quality because games are very complex state machine. Apps have certain sense of complexity, but gameplay, the inputs are so variable, and the permutation combination is so high that testing out a game is extremely hard. So we spend a lot of time uh, to test it out. And we have, of course, the way we have done is we have standardized how we test different formats of games. And now we are not just manually testing, we have automated a lot of those standardized testing mechanisms so that can be easy for us to test on an ongoing basis. The choice of technology framework, for example, we do all games on Unity or native so that the animation rate is extremely high.
Mm.
If you use other tech like HTML5, etc., that might be faster to build, but it cannot animate at a high FPS. So, the choice of technology stack over there as well. On backend, we started with a gaming engine, and now we are building our own sort of gaming stack at the backend, so that we can fine tune the two-way communication that a user and the app builds. Uh, for example, uh, you know, if the user goes out of the context of the game, the two-way communication can break.
Mm.
But we are thinking of how we, even if the user goes out of the context of the app, maybe there's a backup two-way communication channel so that we can get the user back into the context of the game, even if there's a network fluctuation. So, how can we build a high quality backend stack to build a high quality game? Of course, a lot of machine learning as well goes into play. For example, um, I mentioned briefly the network fluctuations. Can we
Right.
detect the network fluctuation, automatically do a refund if a customer, was detected?
Mhm.
Um, there are a lot of, there are times customers unhappy about something, and can we respond back to customers in less than a minute? I mean, that's something we have not solved yet, but in our mind in terms of how to solve it. And machine learning will solve a lot of these problems. Can we respond back to them immediately so that we don't lose the trust of our customers? We can engage with them and solve the problems. Yeah, so that's you know I think I probably digressed a bit, but all of these layers, starting
Right.
from the front end to back end to machine learning, all of them contributes to building out the building out a high quality experience. Yeah, and I want to emphasize high quality is not just the game that you see; it is
Right.
everything else, and a lot more beyond that as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely it is. So, Suvesh, when you were discussing this, right, while I was actually visualizing quite a few of things that you just mentioned, and one thing struck me is the Gen Z and millennials today are spoiled for choice. Yeah, I was not born, in an era when I was spoiled for choice, even when it came to games. So, how do you get these guys keep coming back to your platform? What is it that brings us back to Rush, let's say? So, if you can talk about that, and also I know you did speak about ML, and I also want to understand if is it because the high quality as well that people come back, or is there anything more that we need to know?
Sure. I mean, again, high quality goes a long way. Customer trust goes a long way
Mhm.
in getting customers back. If they had a great experience, if they feel this is the best place to have a real money gaming experience, have fun, bet, compete, play, compete, earn, then they would come back.
Right.
So the high quality goes a long way, and high quality game experience as well as high quality trust experience goes a long way. And obviously, we do things beyond that as well that helps. For example, there's sort of certain customers who are more interested in certain type of games. So can we let them know about those games so that they come back and try those games out? And again, machine learning plays a big role over there. So obviously, we have some retention techniques that we've built in to be able to attract specific customer segments to the specific flair of a platform that will work for them. So we have built these techniques to layer on top of the fundamentals of high quality gaming experience and high quality trust experience.
Sure, sure. So if I need to actually ask you, real money gaming involves also another area, right? Like fraud. People talk about it a lot on how everyone's trying their best to mitigate fraud on their platform. Yeah, this given to say it's not just in RMG, it's everywhere. So how has Hike managed to do that? Yeah, we'd like to understand that piece as well.
Yes, absolutely. I think it's fraud goes as part of a subset of trust,
Hmm.
and because if they're fraudulent users, other users will start losing trust. And yeah, we have built a lot of machine learning, and obviously we need to do a lot in future as well to figure out frauds. For example, um, there could be chance of collusion, multiple user colluding in a certain gameplay, um, in a fraudulent fashion. There could be other sort of fraud mechanisms as well, in terms of, of course, there could be certain fraudulent activities just in terms of trying to hack and, you know, uh, you know, play with the system. So, we have, machine learning, and obviously we have a team that looks at a lot of this data on an ongoing basis to be able to detect such fraud cases, for example, collusion and the malicious activities, around hacking, etc. We have a team of security engineers who are constantly, uh, you know, upgrading our systems, have built a lot of strong internal security tools to detect any such potential activities. So thankfully, there have been no major issues yet, but
Okay,
it's an area obviously to watch out all the time.
correct.
And we have to constantly strengthen our algorithms to be able to tackle some of these cases.
Sure.
again, as at the end, we always put customer at the center. And if we feel that a certain customer was defrauded by somebody else, we would rather refund the money to customers in those cases. So we always put customer at the center, customer first, in case we were not able to solve proactively a fraudulent issue.
Right. Did COVID actually help you gain more customers? Because I hear from a lot of gaming companies that COVID's actually played a sport in terms of getting more people on the platform. Is that true for you as well in terms of hike? Has that really worked for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I probably can't say that there's a direct correlation that I would have observed in terms of COVID leading to more users. But generally, with COVID lockdown, people more spending more time at home. There's generally just more time available because people can save time commuting. I
Right.
spend a lot of time commuting, right? And I feel very, very productive. I feel that I just have so much more time in the day and I can use it productively and for a variety of interest. So this has given more time to everybody. And this has definitely led to generally spike of the ecosystem, I would say. There's more time being spent on gaming, there's more time being spent on social apps, there's more time being spent online generally. And a lot of, so while I can't say there's a direct correlation, but, the fact that ecosystem has grown well because of it, for sure, there's been some impact on us as well. And yeah, I think I just feel it's a very new, interesting world. Uh,
Mhm.
while not the best ways of ushering into a new world, but I think the circumstances have led us to a very new, interesting world where things which would not have been expected earlier. I'm pretty sure nobody would have thought that their kids can study online. Schooling would have been considered so critical. That
Right.
is the subject, but it's just so important, I feel. um, Now I feel kids being very comfortable. My daughter is very comfortable studying online, and it's not clear whether she even wants to go to school or not now. But but she's learning fine. Initially, though, I was very, very skeptic. If we talk about remote work situation, I used to be skeptic about it earlier,
Mm.
but now I feel that it's such a great way to work. And in fact, Hike is remote first, remote only at this point of time. And because we strongly believe that this work culture gives more time to everyone
Sure.
and gives more freedom to everyone. And in through that, we can get the best out of everybody as well. So yeah, I think COVID led to a lot of impact, and yeah, just the ecosystem is growing very fast because of that. And I think the work cultures are also, I feel a lot of places trending in the right direction because of that.
Sure. So you mentioned about hikes culture. So I'm going to take a cue from there and ask my next question. I believe you have high codes, which is, some of your culture statements that are internal. Would you like to talk about that a little, specifically on the innovation? Of course, you spoke about how you looked at high quality. There's a lot of innovation in the way that you're even describing about making my own avatar on the platform, the 2D version. I tried it as well. It's pretty cool. Most people should try that. So I definitely want to understand about high codes, Suvesh, and specifically around innovation, if that's possible.
Sure. So, I mean, as a lot of organizations, we have codified a culture, and we have 8 cultural attributes in codified in high code, which is pro sports team, constant innovation, bunch of customer at the center, plus bunch of others.
Mhm.
And we take all of them very seriously. In fact, to an extent that the cultural attributes is part of our performance systems, part of our incentive system,
Right.
because we believe it's so critical. And I have a very strong view on culture generally. It's culture eats strategy for breakfast. It's very well known.
Right.
But sometimes I feel that until unless you observe it, it's very hard to get the reality of it.
Mhm.
And you know, uh, I'll just digress a bit and talk a little bit about tech culture, engineering culture.
Sure.
Let's just talk about tech first. What tech first implies? Tech first implies a lot of things, which has benefit the ecosystem. Tech first implies building high quality products, building breakthrough products, because new technology enables that. Something we are doing at Hike. Um, I didn't mention about crypto, but we're doing some bleeding edge innovation over there that
Right.
will enable breakthrough products. Tech enables breakthrough experiences. We spoke about a little bit about high quality experience, high quality trust experience as well. So technology enables that. Technology enables scale
Hmm.
because you can you can codify your processes in technology and scale. Otherwise, earlier it would be all on some Excel, which you can now just automate and scale. So technology can do a lot of these things, but with technology also, there's an important aspect of culture. Uh, Technology also enables us to build a culture that can help us rapidly scale and solve problems at large scale.
Right.
So think of it that a small pod of few engineers, product managers, and designers uh, can build billion-dollar businesses and features,
Hmm.
which would have been unimaginable in the past.
Right.
And tech culture is all about, can you build such, I mean, in my opinion, of course, there are a lot of other aspects, but some of these aspects gets missed out. Can you build these autonomous pods, empower them, enable them, give them autonomy, hold them accountable to build these big businesses and features, um, and let them go after and solve it. So, culturally, we think, in terms of culture, we think a lot about these aspects as well.
Sure.
So beyond the high code that we have, that how our teams and organizations set up to be able to solve problems at scale. So yeah. So you build them, and then you build a collaboration layer on top of it, rather than doing the other way, which is the Excel sheets and you're tracking timelines, deliverables, etc. That's one way of doing it, but I think the other way helps us grow and scale much faster. So yeah, and there's other aspects of culture as well, which we follow day in day out, like customer at the center. We keep it as part of all of our conversation. We
Hmm.
ask the question of how does it impact our customers. So rather than just working backwards from metrics, rather than just working backwards from technology, we always start from customers. This is the problem for customer, and now how we can solve it. What's the right technology to solve it? What's the right metric to go after to measure the fact that whether the problem has been solved. We talk about pro sports, we take it very seriously. It's important for everybody to trust other people, because only then you can build a great, in a soccer team, there's a goalkeeper, there's a midfielder, there's a forward, and everybody plays their role.
Right.
Uh, they still push each other because, and they pass the ball to each other because they're expecting the other person to play their part, but they don't try to replace the other person, right?
Very
So, we have that culture here as well. Um,
nice.
yeah, so I feel that some of these cultural attributes, if they're done well, they really, really make a big difference. Which I feel that until unless you've observed it, could be hard to understand the magnitude of impact they make. So, yeah, so something I'm very proud of, like that that we are doing hopefully very well.
This is amazing, the way that you described the entire culture and how you took it down to tech. So I'm sure a lot of people are watching this podcast would want to come and join Hike, Suvesh. And plus, I don't think they are aware of this fact. I was actually reserving it for the end of the conversation, where you've been a humongous risk taker, right? You've not stuck to a certain pattern in your career. You managed to be part of larger companies, but then you took an immediate jump into companies which were just starting up. Let me just take us all down through memory lane. That you start with Oracle. Everybody knows about Oracle. Then you quickly jumped into Home Shop 18, which was just setting up, right? And then from there you went to Utsav, which is again a company that not too many people had heard of, and then step out, and from step out to Amazon, again, a larger company. And then you took a leap of faith into Oyo and now into Hike. Yeah. What would you like to tell the generation who's looking at startups as an ecosystem, or even if they want to come and join Hike, right? I want you to share your learnings through your career to actually, inspire these youngsters and how they should be viewing life.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So, as I mentioned, my journey is a sum of questionable decisions. I think if I look back when I was moving from Oracle to HomeShop 18, um, I had spent good time at Oracle and I was thinking, I want to do something else. I really wanted to get into startup because I always, wanted to do a startup of my own, but I thought, let's me join a startup, get a startup experience. But I applied a couple of places. I got offers from, few top tech companies. I'll not name them, but those are your typical top four tech companies. And I joined HomeShop 18, and a lot of my friends and colleagues called me stupid. Called it to be a stupid decision. Um, yeah, but and if not stupid, it definitely was a questionable decision, but it worked out really well for me.
Sure.
It really worked out well for me because when I went to Home Shop 18, I got an exposure to an up and coming e-commerce ecosystem in India, and I was able to build it really from scratch. I mean, I was the first engineer reporting to CTO over there, and got an exposure to building out e-commerce platforms across front end, the back end, the ordering system, scaling it up to 10 million SKUs. We were probably the first one in India to do that, but it became a tremendous experience, and that uh, amplified my learning a lot. And one of the things that I feel strongly about is learning. In today's age of constant innovation, look at how far internet has come. Look at the penetration of mobile. Look at how crypto blockchain
Yeah.
potentially fundamentally change how everything works in the world.
Sure.
If you're not constantly learning, you'll get left behind. And I feel that's extremely important. So in my life, I've always focused on. I've always asked this question: whatever I'm doing, will it enable more learning for me or not? If not, then I don't choose that part, even if it's very lucrative. So that's one aspect that I always tell everybody, that if you are not prioritizing learning, you'll get left behind. And if you're looking life in terms of the next 6 months, sure, who cares? But if you're looking life in terms of the next 50 years, that matters a lot. By the way, this is connected to some well-known fact that instant gratification is not necessarily the best way to look for your long-term success, right? So yeah, I mean, and I think startups, and of course in future as well. Jumped from I was doing really well at Amazon, an amazing place to work. But I moved to Oyo because I had this opportunity to be part of a fantastic organization that was innovating uh, in a very fundamental way, and that just again enabled a lot of learning for me. And then to Hike, because and at Hike we are innovating at the bleeding edge of social gaming and crypto. So, my advice to youngsters is the same: maximize your learning, and startups happen to be the best way to maximize learning. By the all, I don't want to take away anything from the other organizations like Amazon, where you also get a lot of great learning.
Right.
But yes, the world is moving very fast, and startups is the best way to amplify those learnings. And the learnings are not just the domain learnings are not just technical learnings. Is also culture learning also comes through other people, and the best startups in the world have amazing people uh, who are with the same intent to learn, and that again exponentially impacts your own learning. So yeah, so that's how I put it. While my journey is a set of questionable decisions, if looked at from the lens of learning potential, it would seem all right.
Okay, we're going to play this multiple times so people hear what you've just said because I think it's wonderful. in terms of how you've articulated your entire journey. Would you want to actually talk about few things that people can expect if they were to come and join you? I'm sure you guys are hiring as well. So if you'd like to leave that info and where can they reach you as well, it'll be brilliant for people to approach you.
Sure. So we are reachable. I'm on LinkedIn. Our whole team is on LinkedIn as well, and we have hike.in as well, where our culture is mentioned out there. The openings are over there as well, and some other details, etc. Blogs where we publish a lot of stuff that we do on the blogs are there as well. Um, I think the best part of working at Hike is something I mentioned earlier. Uh, you know, get an opportunity to work at bleeding edge of social gaming in crypto, and I really mean bleeding edge over there. The fact that we have a true engineering and product culture, uh, in terms of how we operate, in terms of how we think, in terms of how we build things as well. Um, for example, we focus a lot on prioritization. We focus a lot on clarity of what we are thinking. So, as far as we can be, of course, every place has its own flaws, but as far as we can be, we have a great engineering product culture. And uh, fantastic team, fantastic people around you.
Mm.
And I think all of that combined just creates a great fun uh, way to, one of the things that people ask me, I should just mention that as well, that, what work means to me. Uh, to me, work is that, I should enjoy it and I should have a passion about it.
Right.
And, if these three ingredients of working at bleeding edge, a great culture, and a great team, great people around you, just makes it fun and passion for me. So I hope other people feel the same way, and would love to welcome any pings. I'm always available to chat. Even if you don't want to join Hike, just want to have a chat. I love to do that.
Perfect. So, for the other people who are listening to this podcast, the other pieces that Suesh has probably missed mentioning is he's extremely a calm leader and he will take you through a lot of detailing because he peels the onion slowly and gets to the bottom of everything. So, he will help you see through a lot of things with a lot of detailing. I wanted to mention that, Suesh, because we've known each other for a long time. So, these are two attributes that you have, and people should really know that these are few things that they can take away if they work with you. Yeah.
For good or bad, for good or bad, calmness has become a way to define myself. Although I would like to say that I'm pretty smart as well.
Sure, sure. Won't take that away from you.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Sure. So, Suvesh, thank you so much for being on the show. Really enjoyed this conversation with you. I would leave few last words for you to share before we close out on this podcast.
No, I mean it's I think it was great chatting with you, Rupa. Of course, I've known you Purple Quarter for a while as well, and you know one of the few organizations who have done a tremendous job at uh, sort of honing the tech ecosystem in India, and now potentially going beyond that as well. So, while not being a tech organization, while not building products, I think you have played a tremendous role in owning this ecosystem. So kudos to you, and wish you all the best. And thanks for inviting me and for this conversation. I really loved it and enjoyed it.
Loved it as well. Thank you so much, Suvesh. Thank you so much for doing this again on a Saturday morning. Pleasure having you on a show. Thank you.
Same here. Thanks a lot.
Bye bye.
Bye.